Welcome, everybody. It is a glorious day. There's no sun peeking out just yet, even though Lil Bit was in here singing earlier. Oh, yes, he was. But the day is a little gray. I'm hoping for rain because we need the rain. I hope for rain, make it rain. Hey, but today, joy and purpose. I was talking to a beautiful person yesterday, and she was sharing with me what she was learning. And we go through life and we look for our purpose. I was reading this man's thingy on Reddit because allegedly Reddit now. I'll tell you that in a minute. But he was saying he doesn't see the purpose of life. What's the point? Look at the world. And I thought to myself, that is the purpose of life, to live it. That's it. We keep thinking that this purpose is greater than it is, but there's nothing greater than to live the life you have. There's nothing greater than to live the life that you have been given. Because who is living it? I am. Or you just said I am living it? Who's living it again? I am is living the life. Just so happens that I am is within your body, your shape, your form. Oh, indeed. Indeed. So the whole purpose of living is to live, not to ask what's the purpose of living. When you spend your time living, you'll discover the purpose is to live. That's it. We want something so profound. We want something so otherworldly, but truth is, it is the most simple thing there is. What is the purpose of a tree? To grow. Hello. It just grows. And then in the growing, the purpose is discovered. You could sit under the tree, and that would be its purpose, is to shield you from the sun. You could pick the fruit from the tree, and that would be its purpose, to nourish you. You could look at the bird's nest in the tree, and that would be its purpose, to house the bird. So you see, purpose is discovered in the living. It's not just one thing. It has many functions. Many. But in order for you to discover the functions, you have to live it. And that is the joy. The joy is living. Oh, Angela, that's easy for you to say. You can pay your bills. You can buy your food. You can do whatever you need to do. So that's why it's a joy for you. But I bet you if you took that away, it wouldn't be a joy. Well, here's a surprise for you. Here's a surprise for you. I still got to pay my bills. I still got to get up every day and work, 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 work. I still got to do it. But you know what makes it easier? The joy of it. Do you know why that is? As within, so without. If you walk through life with disdain and bitterness and resentment, well, we already know what kind of fruit you will bear: struggle and hardship. At no time are you being told to be happy 24/7, 365, 66. Because you cannot be. But what you can do is to recognize that you have life and you will live it. And you've been given the tools. Oh, what tools have you been given to live a beautiful life? Mentalism. The all is mind. The universe is a mental creation. Correspondence. As within, so without. Everything vibrates, everything moves, nothing stands still. You're constantly moving from where you are, polarity, to where you're going. And in that movement, you create a rhythm, a pattern, a habit that is predictable. It's just you, it's the way you move, which causes you to do something, which brings about your experience, the effect. Why? Because you projected that initial thought, masculine, out of yourself into the feminine world. It accepted it and gave you your experience back. Those are the tools that you've been given to make your life that you get to live. If you use those tools, you will live a most beautiful life, because you will realize, oh, I can choose my experience. You see, we spend so much time moaning and groaning over the most useless of things. We moan and groan over our frustrations. But it's all right. It's all right. But remember this: you don't have to moan and groan about your frustration. Acknowledge it and now use the tools to change it. That's it. You waste time. We waste time wallowing when we complain. Simply acknowledge the problem. You do not have to complain about it, just acknowledge it. What's the problem? Acknowledge it, because once you acknowledge it, you will see the solution in it. And when you see the solution, well, then you know, hey, that's what I want. And you see, all of these techniques, right? Neville Goddard teaches that imagining creates reality. And he gives you his reasoning for that. He said, if you look at scripture, you would see this scripture: whatsoever you pray for, if you believe, you will receive it. So it's telling you in that scripture, if you can see it in your mind's eye, then it is yours. Well, where are you seeing it? In your imagination. So if you're seeing it in your imagination and you believe what you see in your imagination, well, then you'll receive it. So imagining creates reality. This is what he's saying. He's giving you his evidence. And you see, the funny thing about that evidence is we're already doing it. The moment we sit and we contemplate, you're bringing it to pass. You're planting the seeds that you contemplate. That's why he tells you, contemplate the good. Because, as William Blake would say, we become what we contemplate. So contemplate the good. Become good. All of us have the same capacity. We sure do. We have the capacity to imagine. So instead of running around in the world trying to find your purpose, live. And the purpose will make itself known. It's not just one purpose. As I gave you the example of the tree. It's not just one thing that it does many things. So really, what is the purpose of the tree? To grow and to exist. And then when you encounter that tree, whatever your need is, the tree meets it. You need shade. You need food. You need a home. The tree becomes all those things. So what is the purpose of the tree? The purpose is to live. And it is in the living that one discovers the purpose, the function. Really and truly, purpose is function. What is it used for? It is used for many things, not just one thing. The one thing it does is to exist, to live, to grow. That's it. Yet, we can derive many functions from it, from doing one thing. So use the example of the tree. Do one thing, live. And it is in your living that you will discover your function. It's not just one thing that you're capable of. You're capable of doing many things. It just depends on the circumstances. So this is what you take the joy in knowing that all I have to do is live. That's it. I just got to live. But how do you want to live? Use the tools. You see, everybody wants a good life. Do we not? Which one of us voluntarily wants to suffer? Ooh, yeah, no, none of us. Which means we all want a good life. But what constitutes a good life to me is not what constitutes a good life to you. I could get up every day and probably eat the same thing, rice and peas. I could get up and do that. I could get up and be nude every day. That's great. But maybe for you, that's not. But you see, what happens is we look at other people and we want what they have. You already have what they have. Life. Now do something with it. Well, I don't know what I want to do. Sometimes it is better to be silent than to say, I don't know. Contemplate. Instead of saying, I don't know, contemplate what you would like to do with your life. You see, I told you before, as children, we hate when somebody tells us what to do. Like this morning, 2:00. I'm like, dude, you got to go to bed because you keeping me awake. But I'm right in the middle of this. I said, fine. 3:00 is the latest, because if I have to do it, you're not going to like it. So you do it. But 3:00 it is. I understand. I could command right now, but oh, but and he says to his friends, I'm so bored, but I gotta go to bed. And I was like, go to bed. You don't have to sleep, but you gotta shut your mouth. He doesn't want to be told what to do. Nobody wants to be told what to do. That's why you get to choose what you want to do. But when somebody says choose, you say, oh my God, but that's so overwhelming. Do you want to be told what to do? Or do you want to choose? Because there's power in one of those things. The power is in your choice. You get to contemplate what it is that you want. This is why contemplation takes time. You don't just run off and go, I'm going to do this. No. Contemplate. What happens if I do this? Well, experience it in imagination, and you'll see what happens. Well, what if I do this? Experience it in imagination, and you'll see what happens. You see, if we would do that, we could save ourselves a whole lot of rigmarole. You have to take responsibility. You must. It's your life that you're living. Take responsibility. Because if you do not take responsibility, someone will assume the responsibility and tell you how to live. And you know what you'll do? Complain the whole time. So instead of complaining, examine your life. Contemplate what you would like to experience. And the moment you begin to contemplate it, things begin to unfold in your world that bring about the experience that you have been contemplating. This is the way it always happens, because that is the pattern, the rhythm, the ebb and flow of life. It will not change. So what you gonna do today? Are you gonna keep chasing your purpose? Or are you just gonna live? Just live. The purpose unfolds. It truly does. You don't have to be dictated to by the past anymore. I hear it all the time. I got to heal my inner child. I got to fix my problems. I got to fix this. No, choose what you want to become and remain faithful to seeing it. And when you do that, well, then all the things that you think are holding you back will fall to the wayside. I'm not trying to force you to believe it. You do have a choice. You can spend your life fixing problems, or you can spend your life selecting the solution and living that instead. Because you see, either way, as you live, you have to live one of two things. You just get to choose problems or solutions. And trust me, we all have problems. What did Jay-Z say? I got 99 problems, but what, right? You see, everybody has problems. But which one do you want to live? The problem or the solution? Problems will fix themselves if you choose the solution. You do not have to go for 50 years of therapy to talk about the same thing all the time, over and over again. What do you want to experience? Well, you have to live to experience now. Because we're already doing it. The moment you sit and rock in the corner about the problem, you are contemplating the problem. You behold whatever you behold, you become. I don't make that rule. I am governed by it. What you contemplate, you become. What you contemplate, you become. Period. You reap what you've sown. I don't make that rule. I just know I got these little tiny watermelons outside. You can't even listen. You can see them with the naked eye, but just barely. If you blink, you'll miss them, but they are there. And I'm excited now. Will they bloom in time? I have no idea. But I know for next year to start a little sooner. You become what you contemplate. You reap what you have sown. The same way you can faithfully complain, you can faithfully rehearse what you want to be. Well, that doesn't really need any more elaboration, does it? So what are we going to do? What are you going to do? And listen, faith comes by hearing. You know what's so beautiful is when somebody calls you and says, Angela, I had the most beautiful experience. I experienced what everybody's been talking about. And I've always wanted to experience. And I experienced it, Angela. I experienced it. My whole life is different because of that one experience. That is the most beautiful thing that I hear on a daily basis when people either call me or DM me to tell me. You know why? Because every day they hear, but they don't just hear, they do. They practice. And the more they practice, because the thing is, one cannot force the experience. You can't force it. See, people try to force things by doing a ritual. You cannot force it. It is simply your desire alone that plants the seed. But here's the beautiful thing. It has already been predetermined that you have the experience. Neville Goddard says it this way. He says, every man will experience scripture. Cold, hard truth is that. You will experience it. So the more you hear to know what you want and experience it in imagination, what you would experience in reality, and remain faithful to that imaginal act. You see, what you're doing there is just living. That's because that's how we live naturally. We want something, we imagine it, and it happens. But in there, in the imagining, we know. We're not hoping, we know there's a difference. You could hope all day long. Man, did I keep the page? I gotta find it back in his book, William Blake. The scripture would tell you that hope deferred makes the body sick, right? Hope deferred. Now, William Blake says it in a similar way. What did he say? It is a matter of when you don't accomplish your desire, you go on wanting and wanting and wanting. That's pretty much to sum it up, but he says it much more poetically than that. So why? What's the difference between going on and wanting it and pining and wasting away after it and not getting it? You do not believe. When you hear your alarm go off in the morning and you get up, why? You get up because you know, you are certain you got to go to work. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You are certain of that thing. You're certain of it. When you're certain of something, you know it to be true. That is what you experience. You experience what you know to be true. So when you are experiencing something in your imagination, you are experiencing it there because you know it to be true. And because you know it is true, it has to happen. You do it all the time. Oh my God, here she comes. And you know, every time she come around here, she gonna be, it's like my dad. It's like my dad. At any time he talks to me, he will always say, do you need some money? That's how my father will say, because he knows. He just knows. That's what fathers do. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Daddy, can I have $300? Hillary, right? Parents just know. Your children always want something. Because you know. So now what else do you know? See, when Neville says to you, it is not the person that changes, it is you who changes. You want them to do something different, you have to see them doing something different. You have to know that they can do something different. You have to know that they can be better. And if you know that, well, then you will elevate them to that state. It is what you know that you will do. You know it, so you will do it. If you don't know it, you can't do it. William Blake also said something about that. He said, no new wisdom is derived from what you already know. Traveling the same road, you won't learn anything new. It's just the same road all the time. So you've got to learn something new so that you can do something new. So this is why going over and over and over the problem will keep getting problems. You want to do something different, you have to learn something different so you can do it. This is why we practice knowing what you want. And when you know what you want, you see, all we're doing now is convincing ourselves that we have it. Because that's what we do anyway, is it not? Day in and day out, we're convincing ourselves of something. Oh, they don't like me. I know they don't like me. Look at how they look at me. They don't like me. They're talking about me all the time. And you say it so much, you convince yourself that it is true. And then what happens? Oh my God, like, we totally don't like you. And then what do you say? You see, I knew it. So what's the difference between doing that and doing what you want to experience? There is no difference. All you're doing is rehearsing something. So that's why you live. My granddaddy always said, as long as you are alive, you can change. He always said that. If you are alive, you can change. Because you can learn. Learning is what contributes to your expansion. We always talk about, oh, but the universe is expanding. You are the universe. And every time you learn, you expand. Because you can't go back to what you used to be. Now, somebody beautiful, again, I just love him. He says, you can't go back to what you used to be, but some people do. And when you go back to what you used to be, you now go back with the knowing of what you're doing. You know what you did. You know that you changed your life. But yet, you go back. That comes at a cost. And it's okay. You can go back, but you won't stay there for long, will you? No. You'll come back. You will. So the purpose of life is to live it. And it is in the living of your life that the functions reveal themselves, and you do them. Or the functions reveal themselves as you do them. You could put a swing on the tree, and that would be its purpose, to entertain. You see how happy children are when you put them on a swing? Higher, push me higher. Oh, and just my stomach just flips every time I watch them go higher. But that's the purpose of the tree now, isn't it? But it is only because the tree is alive. It lives and you see its function. So now if you say, I need some firewood, I'm going to cut me some. But now the purpose of the tree becomes firewood to warm you. Or the tree becomes 2x4s to build. But it has to be alive. It has to live. And even if you cut it down to build your house, it remains. The what now? The remnant remains. So you see, you don't ever have to go chasing a purpose. Live, and things emerge from your life. That's it. Let's take a moment, shall we, to welcome everyone into this space on this glorious day. It's beginning to lighten up outside, but I don't see the sun yet. It's coming though. Hey, Brandon. I see you. You're the only one who's made yourself known in the YouTube chat, but the others, they're there. I see you. Welcome, everyone. YouTube and Facebook. Hey, Hilarion, you're here on Twitter. I trust that the sound is better because I can't live stream from StreamYard anymore because Elon dictates that I must pay him before I can do that. And I say, no, Big Daddy, I'm good. So we're back to our device. Fan base, who's in the house? Who is in the house? Hello, James. Kira, dearest. CM. Dear Deborah. She's in the house. Miss Crenshaw. Miss McQueen. Happy is in the house. Moon. Ali is here. Oracle Treehouse. KZ. Miss Fawn. You're here. Wait, Malik, you couldn't find me on Fanbase. If you go in the hallway, Malik, that room is open. The room is open. Come on in. But I see you on YouTube. It's all good. The point is you're here, right? You see, look at social media. What's the purpose? That depends. How are you using it? It's just there. And in the words of William Blake, what did he say? Where man is not, it is barren. Social media can exist, sure, but unless we give it life by using it, it is lifeless. So how are you using social media? See? Now, the way we use it will determine how we experience it. It can either be good, bad, or indifferent. But that depends on you. That depends on me. So you see, we just use. We just use it. You have to live your life, and the purpose unfolds as you live. That's simply all it is. It's not complex. If you look at the simplicity of the principles, you become what you say you are. Done. That's what all 7 principles are saying. That's it. Can it be any simpler? Well, I'm sure it could be, but that's what it is. Day in and day out. Who do you say that you are? Who do you believe yourself to be? Who do you know yourself to be? If you don't know, listen to yourself. And the next time you say, I am, you'll know what you are. Indeed, you shall. This is what is so beautiful about it. I was sitting here yesterday contemplating, and I was like, Angela. And I said to myself, ugh, I feel so unaccomplished. I feel like I've done nothing with my life. Really, that's what I said. Truly, I said that. And I get this message in my WhatsApp. And she says to me, well, the gist of what she says to me was, I totally love what you're doing. I appreciate what you're doing. You know, what you do makes a difference. And then later on, I get another message and someone says, hey, I got to share with you how you've influenced my life. And I was like, huh. It was like somebody hit me upside the head and go, didn't accomplish anything, did you? Okay, run with that then. So it's like, it's a very interesting thing. I was feeling a particular way, but then 2 people came along and said, contrary to what I was feeling. And I was reminded, what do you mean you haven't accomplished anything? By whose standards are you judging your accomplishment? Fancy that, eh? So you see, my beautiful friends, live. Live your life. I digress, but this is what it is. Yes, happy. Instead of running around trying to find your purpose, honey, just live. There's nothing to be done. Who's to say that roses were intended to be cut as a single or as a dozen to present to the object of your affection as a token of your affection? But they had to be alive for somebody to say, oh my God. Well, mind you, yesterday after, because remember, I was pruning the rose bush, right? And now it's just riddled with buds. So some of the buds have opened, and I was out there just sniffing those roses, and I said, you smell glorious, don't you? Well, what's its purpose? To look good? I suppose. To smell good? I suppose. But I never would have got to do either of those things if the rose bush was dead. So the purpose of your life is to live. That's it. And it is through the living of your life that you will discover the functionality, aka purpose, the use. This is all it is. You know? It truly is. So the next time you are tempted to say, I don't know what my purpose is, because you're busy looking and not living. Hey, I'm just making an observation from what nature is telling me. Because I know this rooster of mine, I would say my apple tree's purpose is to give me apples. Mind you, it is heavy with apples. Oh, they're not ripe yet, but they're glorious. His purpose, he says the tree's purpose is to give him shade. He goes out there and he sits under that tree and he dust bathes under the tree because that's its purpose for him. And I'm telling you, if he could perch, he would. He would perch in that tree. I'm telling you. So what's the purpose of the apple tree? Many. It doesn't have one. But if it was not alive, I would not be able to experience something from the tree. So again, it is just an observation that I am making. It is up to you now to use the principles to live your life so that you can discover through the living. That's all it is. It's nothing more than that. See? Easy. So I trust today, as you hear the bowl and bird song, I don't know if he's going to sing it. He might be mad at me, but because I scooped him up early this morning to put him in the closet so he could continue resting, but then he started to sing in all of his glory. People say, well, what's the purpose of roosters? Well, companionship. And I'm telling you, he can wake the dead. I'm telling you, when he sings, but now allegedly, as I was perusing Instagram, there was a nightingale who was singing. And according to nature, when birds sing, it means safety. Because if there was a predator, the birds wouldn't sing. Because if they sang, then they would be found and they would be prey. So if there is a predator, birds don't sing. It is quiet. I learned that yesterday. So then, what is the purpose of a bird? What's the purpose of them singing? Because when you sit there, now also something else happens. Science tells you that when you hear the birds singing, when you hear, they say, when you hear bird song, it soothes your nervous system. Uh-huh. Fancy that. Which would make sense. Because if you are free, which the birds are, and there is no predator to threaten their safety or security, they sing. So they sing safety. So if you're safety, if you're secure, well then the nervous system is relaxed, is it not? Huh. So here come the words of William Blake. When you can observe, you'll see God everywhere. That's my paraphrase. Poor man, I'm just butchering his poetry. But when you observe, you will see God everywhere. It's in bird song. It's in the blossoms. God is everywhere. You understand? Think about it. You begin, when you recognize that there's something that causes the blossom to bloom, something that causes the bird to sing, something that causes the waves to come ashore in their ebb and flow. You'll ask yourself, what's making these things do that? That is God. What's making it do it? The power and the glory of God is what you can see all around you. But then a most beautiful thing happens. If it is all around you and you are part of nature, well, then the natural conclusion that you will come to, all on your own, if you would but observe, is that the same power that causes the bird to sing, the same power that makes the world turn. Listen, as the world turns is not just a soap opera, but I digress, because the world turns. The same power that causes it to spin at 272,000 kilometers per hour is within you. So if it is within you, well, then you will naturally develop a reverence, will you not? Well, of course you will. You'll say, oh my God, that's in me. That same power is within me to cause me to inhale and exhale and to walk and to talk and to dance and to move and to groove. It is in me. So now when you start to move, you don't take it for granted, do you? Because you know that there's a power that runs through you. And you don't even have to give it a name because you can't give it a name. You don't know what to name it. You just know that it is. And because it is, I am. That's a double entendre if you catch it. Because it is, I am. Put the comma in. Now take the comma out because it is, I am. That's why. So you see, purpose is not hidden from us. Purpose is not hidden from us. There's always been a treasure within. That's it. So what you gonna do? Hmm. Discover it, are you? Oh, yes, you are. And how will you discover it? By living. By living. And by living, you unearth the treasure. You don't have to get a pickaxe and a shovel to go dig in. Nah, live and you will unearth the treasure that is within. But anyhow, I think I've made the point. I don't need to keep beating a dead horse. Horses are meant to be, I don't know, ridden, I suppose. I don't know. But we have wild horses here in Alberta. Oh, if you ever get the privilege of seeing them, God help us all. They're the most beautiful things you've ever seen. When I tell you they're beautiful, they are glorious. You hear the thunder of their hooves on the prairie, and you're like, oh my God. Like, really? It is one of the most amazing things you'll encounter. Wild horses. What's their purpose? They showed me the beauty that exists. That's their purpose. Anyway, let me get the bowl, and I'm sure he'll pipe up when he's ready. But as you hear the bowl and bird song this glorious day, make the decision to live. But Angela, my life is hard. Hey, hey, I understand. I understand. But if you take your attention away from the hardship, this is why we practice. What would make it easier? Begin to experience that in imagination and know that if you believe that it will make a difference, then you will experience it and the difference will be made. Remember, you are always reaping what you have sown. So plant the seeds of what? Your solution. By doing what? Experiencing in imagination what you would experience in reality. So if the problem is hardship, well, then the solution is a soft life. So what does a soft life look like? I can get up in the morning and stretch. And I know that I ain't got to worry about nothing. I got food in the cupboards. I got money in the bank. I got love and adoration all around me and the people in my house. I can laugh. I can cry. And I can observe the beauty around me. That's what I've got. And if you would walk with that knowledge and be grateful for that knowledge, you will plant the seeds of that knowledge, and thereby you will reap the experiences of that knowledge. Hands down, nothing else. So give that to yourself today as you contemplate it when you hear the bull and bird song. Because you, what? What you behold, you become. What you contemplate, you become. So if you contemplate the hardship, well, then I don't make the rules, honey. I just live by them. That is your freedom to deliberately live by them. The bowl. Let me get it all queued up for us. We're going to choose the right one this morning. Yes, we are. We're going to choose the right one. Here, let me get the bowl. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 1. Thanks a little bit. Hey, DJ Swag. Lessigo is in the house. And Double A is in the house. Hey. It's good to see you all. Tonight, you know, the usual, 10:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are going to read, oh dear, what are we reading tonight? John verse 10, you know, the Neville Goddard bedtime lecture, but I forget. All I know is John verse 10 is in there in the title, but I don't remember the rest of the title, but it's posted. So we'll know what it is. Also, this Saturday is a Flourish Q&A pop-up workshop. It is posted on the community page of my YouTube fan base. It is posted. Twitter, it is posted, and it's posted everywhere. Check it out. Let me know if you got questions. It's at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. From 10 till whatever 3 hours is. Don't ask me. Math is not the strong suit. Words are, not numbers. Anywho, you know, fan base, I'm coming to you. You know, we always hang out for a little bit more afterwards. But Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Thank you all for being here. You know I love you. Little Bit sends his love too. Yes, he does. Yes, from the closet, he sends his love. So I'll see you tonight if you want to fall asleep with us. I'll see you tonight. Peace out, Twitter. Twitter is closed. YouTube and Facebook, I'm going to catch y'all later.